Tonight, I want to talk about setting system rather than setting goals. Before delving into this topic and gathering some information about these subjects, I used to think that, let's say, setting goals is the most important, let's say, ingredients for being successful in your own life. But this topic or this ideology changed my idea somehow. According to some psychologists and some successful people, uh, if you just set some goal for yourself, it has some negative points for you, and there are some better options. Irrespective of your sex, your nation, your age, and so on, everybody has some objectives that he or she wants to achieve in his or her life. For instance, a writer wants to, for example, write a best-selling book in every year, or for example, a runner wants to win a championship. But talking about their settings, maybe about their systems, maybe their systems could be different from their goals. Although runner's goal is winning a championship, his system is practicing on a daily basis. Or for example, an entrepreneur wants to build $1 million business, but his setting is sales and marketing process and some techniques that he needs or she needs to follow for being successful in his or her career or occupation. The interesting point is that if you follow a system, a well-designed system, you're going to get the best result. And if you just chase your own goal, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is the only way for getting the best results. And a well-designed system could help you to get the most or achieve the apex of your success. And for example, imagine that the writer decides to write 1,000 words every day. At the end of a year, he or she has enough material for filling a book. He could have done something else. For example, imagine that he could, for example, try to set a goal for himself that at the end of the year, he's going to fill a special book. He could have many worries and some concerns about the objective. I mean, when you try to set a goal for yourself, you cannot enjoy the journey, and it's one of the negative points and demerits of setting goals, because it reduces your current happiness. In fact, when you are following a specific goal, you are always disgruntled unless you have achieved your ultimate goal. You put some stress upon your own shoulders, which is somehow detrimental to you. You just need to stick to your schedule, and that's all. And that's enough for being successful, according to some psychologists. Goals are not in harmony with long-term achievements. For example, when a person is participating in a contest, if he or she fails after the contest, he's going to lose all of his hopes, and he despairs in the journey or in his life or her life. And also, the other point of the coin is that the other side of the coin is that if he or she wins after the contest, he has no or she has no motivation for the rest of the journey. It is not just let's say a specific time that you want to, for example, be successful in a specific field. You need to continue the process to get the apex. And also, if you just follow some specific goals, it's similar to yo-yo effect. It is called yo-yo effect, that sometimes you're motivated, but sometimes you're not. Another example that could clarify this issue is that imagine that you're lifting weights in the gym and you feel some twinge or pain in your leg. If you just look at the perspective at the moment, if you think about it, just at the present, if you have let's say short-term goal, you try to continue doing exercise and let's say dismissing your fatigue or your problem, and maybe that could be somehow harmful for you to continue exercising at that moment because you're feeling some fatigue and pain in your leg. But if you look at the perspective broadly, it means that you're going to doing exercise in the rest of the days of your life. So There is no any limitation for you, so you can call it a day and doing more exercise in the other days or in the following days. And to put it in a nutshell, I can say that goals are useful when you have short-term goals and they can put you forwards, but it doesn't necessarily mean that goals are the only way for getting successful in your life. And keep it in your mind that well-designed system always win. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. That was so interesting.
Thank you, Sasun. I did enjoy that, and to be honest, I noticed that actually it refers to that video I was watching a couple of hours ago. But that the message is the same, but actually, let's say the goal is the same, but the system is different. Yeah. And to be honest, I should admit that this is one of the most interesting topics I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, and I noticed that, wow, Hussein, you are just practicing this system of thought for years, because I don't pay attention what will happen later on when it comes to LELB society. I just do my best and I work within that system. And I noticed that, wow, Hussein, actually maybe you don't have let's say explicit knowledge. It means I'm not aware of that, but I'm just doing the same thing. I don't care about the goal. I just do my best. And that's why I was so interested in this topic.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's review the answers to the questions. Number one, Lily, will you answer this question? Number one, what are the benefits of setting systems?
Actually, I listened for his article. I think everybody has this success way per particular system for all life, or the system has produced for his life. So sometimes you have the schedule to run your life, but sometimes the environment or the of the outside, they can't get your reach for your goals. So if you can focus for your goal, you can write for your schedule your goals as an item, but for the long time it's not for useful. For just a short time you can pass for your useful about to reach for all goals, he or she or anybody. So he mentioned about if somebody want to get for the take a note of at the year, he or she can fill out a book about for how to competition and championing for their problem on the life.
Yeah, he did say that setting short-term goals are more beneficial, because you can actually enjoy just coming to just realizing and notice that they are realized to you from that point of view.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So question number 2, to what extent do you agree with this topic? So Hajar, how can you respond to this question number 2?
I think that goals couldn't keep us motivated over the long term, and based on systems we can gain feedback, and it allows us to keep track of many different pieces without feeling the pressure to predict what is going to happen.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
And systems are good for actually making progress. But goals are good for just planning for progress.
Yes, such a comprehensive answer. Thank you very much. And now the last question to Arash. Do you think that injecting this idea, setting systems into our education system is necessary, Arash?
Yes, I think it is necessary because, I believe that's, let's say, our teacher, they need to assess our, let's say, our improvements continuously, instead of just give us, let's say, a good mark at the end of semester. And to do that, it is necessary to just set some short terms, let's say, goals. And I think it's a great way to, let's say, become successful in our education.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And do you have any comment regarding Sasan's presentation? Great. So if we just go through these steps as you mentioned, it's more or less the whole process will become like setting goals.
Yes.
So from that point of view, actually, you think that these two strategies, that is setting goals and setting systems, have some things in common. Okay, thank you very much. Now, any mispronunciations Sasan may have had or something?
I haven't noticed anything.
Yeah, the only thing that actually I could catch was in harmony. I think he said in Sasan, you said something else, but in harmony with something, and that was the only thing I could get. And so Sasan mentioned something very noticeable to just criticize setting goals. And is there anybody here who would like to just focus on that negative aspect of setting goals in comparison to setting systems? What will happen if you just if you preoccupy yourself with setting goals? What will happen?
Not enjoying the journey.
you it's clear that you know that. I wanted others.
Yes.
Can I answer?
Yogi himself said you cannot enjoy the process. Yeah, you cannot enjoy that. And what is a yo-yo effect? Lily, do you have some information? Sasan mentioned something about the yo-yo effect.
I think about this, if you have, as he mentioned about the harmony of the long time, if somebody loses of the goal about the mention, the corn after for he lose it, he can continue. So for the approach himself or herself to continue about their goals, I think, but I'm not sure.
Susan, is that right?
No, it is. Can I describe it?
Let's ask the same question from somebody else. Is there anybody else who would like to answer this question? What is a yo-yo effect? No. Anybody else?
Sorry, the yo-yo is mention of the play game. The yo-yo, this every goals come down and up, or the life has a very have a good
I know
target.
what yo-yo is. I know.
But I don't know. Yes.
I used to play with that when I was a kid. So.
Can I answer?
Yes. Yes, please. What is the yo-yo effect?
Immediate result of something.
No. And so, Arash, do you want to try?
Actually, I did try, and
you did? Okay.
that wasn't successful.
That's it. All right, please. He said that actually when you swing back and forth, and sometimes, for example, something happens to you and you are successful and in one stage, but in the other one, actually, the process will become really boring. So I think when there is some fluctuation in the process, as far as I could get, it refers to the yo-yo effect. Fluctuation of success and failure and enjoyment and pain, pleasure and pain. So will you just give a testimony to what I said?
Yeah, but something that I said was about motivation. When you are setting goals, sometimes you're motivated because you're still waiting for the time of examination or contest. But after, for example, failing in the contest or winning the contest, you have nothing to follow.
So there is a fluctuation, or
Exactly.
let's say in terms of the level of your motivation.
Fluctuation in our motivation.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know what domino effect is? Because we have different types of effects. So you yourself said yo-yo effect, and what about domino effect? Do you know what it is?
Domino effect.
There's dominance.
I heard about domino theory. Is it about that?
Okay, it must be related to that. So what is domino theory?
Let me think. I think it's about our reaction.
Yes, you're getting close. Yeah.
Yeah, about some about events or something like that.
Precisely.
Because yeah.
Very good. Yeah, domino effect refers to what you do and what could be the, let's say, result of what you do, and the process goes on and on. You know, it has a chain reaction. Also, you could say chain reaction or a snowball effect. Also, we have a snowball effect. I told you we have different types of that. Butterfly effect, snowball effect, domino effect, yo-yo effect. What's wrong with those people who just coined these terms? But anyway, and by prioritizing goals, actually you need to just take care of many factors such as deadlines. You need to set deadlines and meet them, and this causes some stress. But when you just know that you are just doing what you need to do, and you compete with yourself instead of just comparing yourself with others, because setting goals, to some extent, in order to set goals, you need to compare yourself with others. But this is a more stress-free pursuit and activity. And that's why actually I just at the time of watching that video and also listening to Sasan giving that presentation, I just considered myself in the whole process of just setting systems. But you know, not all people can set successful systems, in my point of view. And I wonder if you can help me to just come up with a good answer to this question. Is it a good prescription that could be written for everybody? That, okay, for example, Mr. and Mrs. X, from now on, put aside your goals and focus on systems?
I don't think so. It is too difficult. Yeah, we cannot, let's say, we cannot say that anybody can do this and set systems. It's too difficult, but I personally experienced that when I wanted to take IELTS exam, and that was a successful, let's say, setting systems, I think.
Great. Yeah. In my point of view, from my point of view, I think in order to become a successful system setter, first of all, you need to have a high level of positively normal level of, let's say, EQ. You need to motivate yourself. You need to know where you are going, and you need to compete with yourself instead of others, and you need to know yourself, have enough self-awareness, and You don't need to have a high level of IQ, because otherwise the system will become so chaotic, because you don't have any benchmark, you don't have any criteria. You see?
Right.
You
Yeah.
get lost in the system because the system becomes really subjective to you.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so, and in my personal idea, I'm sure about that. The system becomes really subjective as opposed to objective, and I'm sure you know the difference between subjective and objective.
Right.
Yeah. What is your ideal lecturer?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, I just criticized the topic to some extent. Do you agree with my point of view?
You were talking about the difficulties of putting it into action for some people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I said it's not prescribed to everybody.
You know, people are different. I've seen many people who have, for example, succeeded in one stage of their life. For example, we have many engineers who have studied in maybe perfect university because at a specific period of time they have tried to get the apex, but afterwards, after getting the goals, they let's say they left studying very well about the field of work because they don't have any lifetime goal or lifetime motivation.
Great.
That's a perfect example that I've ever seen.
Good point. Yeah, when it comes to systems as opposed to goals, we need to focus on the ongoing process of achievement, and success. It does not come to an end all of a sudden. It is ongoing. It is process oriented. And
exactly.
That was a good and clear explanation by Sasan and also Arash and others, Ujar and Lily. Anyway, also we have another ideology which is called complexity theory, and what Sasan just said has something to do again actually with chaos complexity theory, and it means that actually the outcome is not identical to the combination of the income. So, and also the butterfly effect. But I believe that the person working in that system must be really aware and conscious and must be analytic, just taking care of the details, trying to evaluate and analyze and go through analysis, ongoing analysis. Do you remember we had a video whose title was "Who Moved My Cheese?" and they were working in that system because it was a kind of system, and they were the two characters were focusing on the goals, and that was the only thing. And because of that, actually, they were not ready to even actually go through the difficult process of searching for the goal. But two of them actually just did everything, and even they tried to enjoy the process of searching for the cheese, and they became more successful. And it refers to, I think I was just thinking about that video, Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer. Okay, thank you very much.